Hey guys, Happy New Year. So this is going to be things I would tell myself in 2009. So as in like looking back over the last decade, advice I would give to myself through, is it through the decade? Oh, I'm going to do it through the decade. I don't know what everyone else has been doing. Yeah, I'm doing through the whole decade. So it might be a long one, but yeah, it's New Year's Eve. I'm here, well, I say on my own, kids obviously asleep upstairs, so yeah, let's get started. So, 2000 and, oh, did I say 2009? 2010, yeah, well, 2009 going into 2010. So what was my life in 2010? Um, Bought a house, that was all quite scary. I was self-employed from 2009, so fairly new self-employed. Didn't have an amazing income because obviously nobody really does when they're starting out. But yeah, I bought a house, which was at the time amazing. Was doing the house up, everything like that. So 2010 was a pretty good year. 2011, pretty much getting the house finished, building the business, building the other halves of the business. Um, Started planning a wedding. 2012, got married. So yeah, the decade started off pretty well. I think the biggest thing I wish is that I'd appreciated more what I had back then, because I don't think people do. Well, some people are quite smug about it, but I think I was just quite. That was all I'd ever known, because obviously we've been together since I was 18, so I'd not really ever known my life without him, and I very much took for granted how things were, how happy we were, everything like that. The fact that not everybody gets to get married, buy a house, all those kind of things. But obviously, the big thing was I wasn't getting pregnant, and that had been going on for a long time. So yeah, 2013, yeah, 2013. Summer of 2013 was when I went to a doctor. So I said, look, we're not getting pregnant. What's going on? And then we started the horrific and wonderful 50-50 50-50 horrific and a wonderful journey that is IVF. And I don't know if I have regrets over that journey, but how to explain it? I don't even know how to explain it. I wish that Tom had been more involved in terms of decisions and those kind of things. I think I very much saw it as something I was going through. Not that we were physically. I was doing the injections. I was having operations. Emotionally, we were both in that journey together. But it's make or break. And obviously there were a million other contributing factors. And I wouldn't say 100% like IVF was what ended my marriage, but it was definitely a very, very big contributing factor. There was, yeah, infidelities or whatever else that obviously contributed to it, but a lot of that, where that stemmed from how we kind of not even drifted apart, like got catapulted in opposite directions, was around that kind of time with the IVF and everything else. And then obviously through my pregnancy, the biggest thing I wish, a huge regret, is I wish I'd have been able to enjoy being pregnant. And I hated every single second of it. And I look back and like, I hate myself for it, but I hate him for it, maybe. That's one thing that I find very, very hard to forgive him for, is it took me getting on for 10 years to get pregnant. And then when I was pregnant, I didn't get to enjoy any of it. I wasn't looking forward to them being born, anything else, because I was putting every bit of my energy into battling to try and save my marriage. And I wish I'd have kind of let that go a lot sooner and focused on the kids. That's a big regret. And I wish I'd have believed in myself to know that I could cope without him, because I literally thought I would die. I thought my world would implode without him. I did not for a second think that I could survive without him, and you can live without anybody, really. You can. It doesn't feel like it at the time, but you can. So when I was pregnant, and he'd say, he'd try and throw me out of the house and whatever else, and I would go. I wish I had, but I'd try and throw him out, and he wouldn't go. And yeah, I wish that, I don't know if I wish it ended earlier, but I wish that I'd focused more on the twins than on him, which, yeah, that's a regret. But yeah, having more faith in myself, I suppose, is the biggest thing, because I wish that I'd have been able to see that I could do it on my own. because at the time I felt very dependent on him. We had, you know, a mortgage together, we were married, everything. You don't realise that you can do things alone. And when it came down to it, so when it did kind of all end and I got my own house and everything else, it was difficult, but it was the fear of doing it on my own was a hell of a lot worse than actually doing it on my own, if that makes sense. Like, once I actually got out of that house, got out of the situation, I wish I could look back and, you know, tell myself it was going to be okay and that I could do it, and I smashed it, really. Not being whatever about it, but it wasn't anything like as difficult as I thought it was going to be. The next thing, I guess, when you get on to when you first kind of notice that things were different with Jade, worrying about all that kind of thing. And that's obviously the biggest thing, is to trust your gut and to know that you're the parent, you know best 90% of the time. There's always going to be, you know, the odd occasion where you need someone to tell you that you're wrong, but in general, you're the parent, you know your child, and you're not going to be the crazy bitch that people tell you are. And I mean, we're 3 years into this journey. Yeah, Jade's about to turn 5, so yeah, 3 years we've been on this journey for. And people probably still think I'm crazy. People probably say I'm crazy, say I'm obsessed. I talk about nothing else, blah blah blah. But I don't care, because he's my entire world, or they're my entire world. Like, and keeping Jade happy and safe and getting him the help that he needs, that's literally all that matters in my life, because that's all that, you know, keeps me going. We keep each other going. So yeah, we've got meetings coming up in January. We've got the teacher's done, like, I don't even know what they're called, like OT referral, and I believe the other one's like umbrella pathway referral, hopefully. So this year 2020 is hopefully going to be a good one. Hopefully we're going to get the extra support he needs, possibly a diagnosis by the end of the year would be, that might be pushing it. We might be looking at the start of 2021, which is just, I mean, he'll be turning 6, so yeah, to me that seems ridiculous. To professionals, they kind of, I don't know, say that it's still quite early, but to me it seems like the longest journey on earth, just to get that piece of paper, that black and white, that diagnosis. So yeah, that's Jade. What else? Me. Body confidence, I suppose, is another massive one, isn't it? And throughout my marriage, I don't know, I think I always had that kind of like, is there going to be someone, not that I didn't trust him, but I always had that insecurity, that fear of, is somebody better going to come, which, I mean, yeah, let's agree she's not, but I think I always had that kind of fear of someone prettier, someone hotter, someone younger is going to come along, which obviously wasn't the case. And I never really had that confidence in myself. And then obviously towards the end, when we'd argue, when he'd give all the nobody else will ever want you and all those kind of things, and over time you believe it, you definitely, like, that gets ingrained into your head. And I probably maybe went too far the other way to kind of prove, once we had split up, look at all the attention I get, look at all the attention I get, like, everyone wants me. But that's because you have years of, I don't even know how to describe it, but that kind of, yeah, of somebody making you feel like nobody else would ever, you're crazy, you're fat, you're this, you're that, your body's ruined, you've had kids, everything else. I mean, he literally said to me once, when I was pregnant, I said, you know, once I've had them, I'm going to try really hard to get back in shape and everything else. And he just went, what's the point, your body's ruined now? You're like, that's not what husbands are meant to say. It's meant to be that magical time of, you're pregnant, you're having my child, everything's wonderful, not your body's ruined now. But yeah, I think being in my 30s, that's the other thing. I think in my 20s I was incredibly insecure in general, in everything, like even in like work and everything. I doubted myself so much. And then being in my 30s, my like fuck level is like 0. Like, I don't care about anything unless it's to do with the kids or like my own peace and happiness, because that's the biggest thing as well, is peace. And I think that's, like, if you know like my life story inside out, and you know like quite how like toxic my life was towards the end of my marriage and that kind of thing, then you understand why peace is like my go-to word. Like, I don't care about anything else but peace in my life. Like, obviously when it comes to like fighting for Jade and things like that, that's not necessarily peaceful and that can get a bit nasty, but in general I don't have that energy for anything else other than any other reason. Like, peace, like any relationship, if it's not working, it's like done. I I used to obviously do like chance, please change, love me, and now I'm just like one little thing and I am like done, like you're stressing me out. You don't even have to be like properly kicking off or anything else. If something stresses me out and it's not bringing me peace, it's not bringing like something good into my life, if it's like just draining my energy, that could be friendships, relationships, anything, if it's not a positive influence on your life, then it's gone and it's done. And that's definitely a lesson that took me way too long to learn, but it's one that I've learned now and one I will never ever go back on. I mean, obviously some things deserve to be worked on, and obviously if relationships different, but in general, like if it's something that I'm not particularly serious about and it's just in my eyes it's done, then it's done. There's no like, let's try this, let's try that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's it. Gone, dead, gone. Although saying that, I say gone, dead, like the relationship is, like some of my exes are my best friends, but that's a whole different story. But in general, I would say I'm as happy, if not happier now, as I was 10 years ago. I don't know whether people believe that, because people kind of have me down as being like bitter and all these other things, and like, you know, divorced and separated and all that kind of thing. But in terms of being happy within myself, happy in my situation, I've got a good house, I've got a good car, like all those kind of things, good job, kids. The kids obviously are like my biggest achievement. Yeah, I'd say in terms of inner peace and that kind of like being happy and content in myself, I'd say I'm happier now. In terms of my situation, I don't know, possibly 10 years ago, because I thought I had so much to look forward to ahead of me, whereas now I'm a bit more like, not skeptical, but like I don't really believe in happily ever after, whereas, and I think that's quite sad, whereas 10 years ago I still believed in that kind of like, everything's going to be okay, you're going to be that person forever and all those kind of things. So that's probably like a little bit of a sad way of looking at it. But in terms of being happy in myself, I think that's the biggest thing, is like that you need to be on your own after a big breakup, a separation, anything like that. Like throwing yourself into relationships is like probably the worst thing you can do, because like I've spent, believe it or not, I think most people think like I'd like go from one bloke to the next, blah blah blah, but I've actually spent the majority of the time since I've been separated on my own, and it's liberating, and it's so like you learn so much more about yourself being on your own than you ever will from another person. And obviously I'd never done that from being 18 to being 30. I was with one person, so to be on my own for the first time as an adult, I love it. And that's like, some people don't like think that's crazy, but like even tonight, like I could have gone out, I could have had someone around, I could have seen like so many of my friends, but I'm just like, me and the dog, I'm happy. So yeah, I'm sure there's like a million things that I'm forgetting. But yeah, the biggest thing is just to believe in yourself and that you can do anything on your own. You don't need like to be overly dependent on anybody else. And that's probably quite sad in a way, because it wouldn't be nice to be able to depend on people, but the biggest thing I've probably learned is that you can't depend on anybody but yourself. I don't really want to teach my kids that too. Well, you do and you don't you? Because you want them to know that they can do everything alone, but you also don't want them to be scared to kind of depend on people and commit to people. But so long as they know that I'm the one person they can always rely on, then that's probably the most important thing I can teach them. So yeah, commitments going into 2020. I want to kind of, my biggest, it's not even a resolution, but my biggest target, I don't even know what the word is, next year is Jade related. I want to get his EHCP started, which that could take a couple of years, let's be honest. Like, it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to be a ongoing goal. Diagnosis, kick the school's ass over what support he's going to have in year one. That is going to be taking up a hell of a lot of my energy in 2020. Stop them being such spoiled brats. It's one of the other ones, because I am that guilty. I mean, you know, whenever we go anywhere, the supermarkets, can we have this, can we have that? At Christmas, they're just, what else are we getting? Yeah, what else is there? What's the next present? Like, oh my god, just be grateful for what you have got. Which Jade, that is the difference between the two of them. Ella was like a whirlwind for her presents, like chucking things aside, and then Jaden, every single thing he got out, it was like a DVD or something. He'd be like, "Oh my god, wow! Look, mummy, look what Santa gave me!" And Ella's just like, "What's next? What else is there? What can I?" I'm like, "Oh my god! Like, be grateful. Just be happy that you've probably already got like 10 times what most other kids have got, because obviously they get as much, if not more, from me than most kids get. Then they get everything from their dad, they get everything from their nan, so they are pretty spoiled. And I do want to teach them to appreciate things more, to learn to kind of understand the value of money and that kind of thing. Yeah, cutting down on unnecessary spending is huge one. Saving, like I don't really have any real savings, so that's another big goal for 2020, to start saving. The gym, not losing weight as such, because I'm fairly happy with like my figure, but just generally getting healthier, stronger, eating better. I say every year and never ever happens, but we'll pop that one on the list as well. I don't really know. Oh, I suppose if I get time, the business, like, my career, which kind of gets pushed to the side a little bit because everything's Jade, and like that takes up the majority of my time and energy. But yeah, we're hoping it's going to be a good 2020 this year. Hasn't been horrendous like the previous ones. I think 2018, 2019. Obviously got my house in 2018. Jade got into Waylek, that kind of thing. Now they've started school, doing fairly well at school and all those kind of things. So yeah, and obviously my tribunal, won my tribunal this year. So yeah, it's not been horrendous year, it's not been the best, but hopefully 2020 will be our year.